snap, the dignified in distress, makes wrestling tame stuff. I'm going in at the deep end of Fleet Street, where only the toughest and most dedicated survive the battle to be a press photographer. My target is to persuade a newspaper with a reputation for photojournalism and a circulation of more than 3 million to send me on a major picture assignment. The man I wish I could impress with something better than my family snapshot album is Mirror picture editor Len Greener. I thought perhaps you ought to see some of the work I've done up to now. No great shakes, holiday snaps mostly, but have a look and tell me what your professional assessment is of them.
But see, these scenic views just don't mean a thing to a Fleet Street newspaper. That's one of our pet hates, is the dressing up of animals. We just don't, oh, it's terrible. It's,
a friend of mine insisted on my taking that picture.
Really?
I thought in Fleet Street you went in for that kind of thing.
No. You've got to show me a portfolio of pictures that I can offer to the editor as material for the newspaper. The professional Fleet Street photographer is ready for any event at any time. He anticipates a magic moment. He thinks that maybe somebody's going to trip over. He thinks that the Prime Minister's petticoat is going to show. He thinks that Prince Charles is going to fall off his polo horse, and he anticipates it. And when it happens, he's ready for the photograph. Now, if I was to send you out on a story against other Fleet Street photographers, you would come second, because you would miss the moments. You wouldn't have a chance against them.
Before I can start on my portfolio for the editor, I'm to watch the paper's chief photographer, Kent Gavin, at work. He's won many prizes, including a World Press Photographic Award. His job today is a royal assignment in the Pool of London. How does he and the rest of Fleet Street handle a job like this?
Well, we've got Her Majesty the Queen going on board Prince Andrew's ship today. And it's not very often you get the chance to photograph the two of them together. And the picture I shall be looking for here today is the greeting between the Queen and her son. Now, hopefully that will be a kiss.
HMS Brazen is alongside the Belfast, where the Ministry of Defence has put the photographers.
Will we get Prince Andrew meeting the Queen?
Yes, she comes on board. She'll be met by the captain, introduce the first lieutenant, the officer of the day, and then she'll walk across the flight deck, and Prince Andrew will be there joining the party, and then they'll walk across the flight deck and at the starboard side of the ship. Right. So literally you've got about 90 seconds.
Well, now, Kent, you've been offered several positions. How do you decide which one?
Well, at the moment this one looks unlikely, because with Prince Andrew will have his hat on. We've got to get underneath the hat. If you can see those two
yes.
naval guys there, so we're going to have to go down one deck so we can get a better shot of Andrew's face. My gut reaction is this is the right spot to be. Now, the only problem that could happen is my view could be obstructed by somebody at the last moment walking across the shot of the greeting between the Queen and Prince Andrew.
So you could lose the shot altogether?
I could lose it altogether.
Side, pipe.
Now we've got the captain. You can't holler and hoot and ask the Queen to pose. It's just not on with members of the royal family.
There is a moment, I suspect, though, when you know if you've got a good picture. I mean, supposing they had kissed, you'd have known.
You'd have known instantly. It's like an echo of a clap of thunder going through the Nikon body. It's a split second and you feel it and it's in there. You're never sure, of course, until you've processed the film and got it out, developed and looked at it. Then you'll go out and tell the picture desk, I've got it.
But not until?
Not until.
My equipment will consist of 3 cameras with motor drives and a box full of lenses and flash guns. Apparently, 85% of press photographers use Nikon. Kent Gavin has brought me to meet their UK Managing Director, Harry Collins. They're going to show me how it all works.
Although the motor is there, you must find through experience that your first exposure is the one you think is the correct one. For example, the picture that won me the Royal Photographer of the Year, black and white section this year, was a picture of the Princess of Wales lifting an umbrella in the rain. The first exposure that I shot was the one that won it. There were 4 frames after, and there were only split differences in it, but it was that first one.
A good rule of thumb is to remember that the focal length of the human eye is 58 millimeters. Hence the standard lens, which normally get on a 35 millimeter camera, is 50 millimeters, and it sees roughly the same as the human eye does in any given circumstances. We move on to a 100 millimeter lens, then we would move on to a 200 millimeter lens, which is the following photograph. Then we would move on to a 400 millimeter lens, and then the last one that we have is a 600 millimeter lens.
For which you need weightlifting practice.
For which you need weightlifting, exactly, and obviously a monopod.
But the effect of that is incredible, because
It
you
is,
you
yes.
see the clock on the church tower.
When you've got that lens on, the focus is critical. An example of that, Prince Charles playing polo. The size of that polo field, you have to have that 600 on. Focusing it while he's galloping around on a horse is very, very difficult. You ever go there? Just feel the weight of that.
Well, the camera itself is quite heavy. I don't know how to line this up.
Now,
It's backwards, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not like a...
But while you're doing that, Chris, you're missing the picture. Your opposition, the Nikon choir, will be singing out now, and you'll be wondering why you haven't got it. And you'll fumble even all the more, because you think, what's happened?
Focus it with this, right?
Yeah. It's so critical. You see what I mean?
Gosh,
You feel the weight.
I can't hold it steady.
And you've still got the other cameras, because you'll be looking at other incidents. If the princess arrives while Charles is playing polo, you've got to let that fall down behind your neck and pick the other one up. Because remember, you're competing against the rest of Fleet Street. And you're judged the next day on that by the editor.
The first picture I'll be judged on could come from a one-day stint on the Bexhill Observer. Weighed down by my new toys, I have to pop in for a briefing.
Yeah. Come in.
Their photographer is Jimmy Burke, and the editor, Gary Chapman.
God love it. What have we got here? Going to the moon?
Well, for the richest photographer going, I think, the assignment we've got for you, Chris, is to cover Albion soccer team in Bexhill. That's our local team, v Pagham.
What you want really is one camera, standard lens, film 50 millimeter, and a small zoom.
I have got some very much longer lenses.
It's not like shooting at Wembley where a goalkeeper can go up, tip the ball over the bar, and you get a beautiful picture with a backdrop of about 3,000 faces and soft focus. You won't get that. What you'll get here, you put a big tele lens on, you'll get the 2 men on the touchline, Mrs. Brown's washing on the in the garden, television aerial and windows, and it's all squashed up and you lose it.
Coming in, point.
Coming in, pipe!
Good boy. Coming in, point.
Trevor! Trevor!
Yeah, I'm going again, I'm going.
Russell down, you've got to pick it up.
Positive.
Inside! Only go!
Good try, Phil.
Somehow, the action always contrives to happen at the wrong end of the field. And now the referee's called for a penalty, and I've got the wrong lens on the camera.
Come on! Let's go, come on! Hey, let's start anything, get it!
By the end of the match, 5 goals have been scored. I haven't photographed any of them, and I'll have to explain that to the editor.
I think Jimmy will agree this is a disaster, really. Sideways onto the goal, we've got something happening here, obliterated by the post. We've got people turning away, of course. Doesn't say anything at all. And this one is, I think, really almost there.
Yeah, that's
Regarding
that's,
visual action.
Yeah, it's not not quite sharp, but this is the best effort of the lot. What went wrong on the penalty, Chris?
I was changing lenses and there wasn't a lens on the camera when the referee blew his whistle.
To be fair, a penalty is the only time you can predict a goal-bound shot, so you've got time to set yourself up.
So is this a sacking offence?
Well, I would say you wouldn't be around very long. If you miss a penalty, how are you going to get the real story on any job?
My portfolio needs a winning sports picture. At Twickenham, an England-Ireland international will be played in freezing conditions and in very poor light. Eamon McCabe of The Observer, 4-time Sports Photographer of the Year, will show me why it's the photographer, not the camera, who makes the great shots.
The mistake a lot of people make when they're starting out in sport is they shoot too small. You've got to have the image as big as you can in that lens. And it's going to be, you know, to wait, let them run into it as opposed to go on a shorter lens. Actually stay with it as long as you can. This whole pitch out here, they could go anywhere. They could come in tight on us here, or they could be far over there. And we've got to keep up with the action and follow focus. And the depth of focus on these lenses can only be a foot or 2 foot at the most.
Really?
And that's really the problem, is fine focusing all the time. Right, now, same again with this line out.
Yeah.
Can try and...
The guy with the headband?
Yeah, so the guy,
We'll
big
get it
guy
out to the scrum half.
Yeah. Concentrate on him and the scrum, and he should try and tip it down to the scrum half. When you get the scrum situations, you know, when the guy feeds the ball in the scrum half, and he'll run around the back and they'll feed it out to him. You get some good pictures of the other guy trying to get at him.
Yeah.
Get that more, Chris. Get all that line around, that's it. I think it's to always look for pictures, even if it's not big plays, is to look for pictures in the scrum there where the guys are facing each other. There's walls against, you know, there's walls of men against an Irish wall of men.
Yes.
And the referee in the middle of it all. Any good strong patterns, and big images, you know. And you've got to see faces as well, personalities. Here it comes. Great picture. Yeah. You see him falling over?
Yeah.
And he fell.
Yeah. I don't know if I was there on that moment, but I got the whole action.
Were you sharp on that sort of group, were you?
Yeah.
Oh, you're laughing. Go try.
Oh gosh, I can hear your camera shutter going every time I don't get to it. Ah! Probably out of focus, but I got it.
Oh, you got it.
Back in the Observer darkroom, printer Tony Martin is bringing out the best in our efforts. Printers can make average pictures look good and good ones into minor masterpieces. Eamon's are all good, so how do they choose one for the big space in the sports pages?
And this is the one we used, which we felt summed up the game. And we have 3 big forwards here, and Richard's virtually sort of demolishing this Irishman here, scored 2 tries.
Well, it puts mine into perspective, I suspect.
This is interesting. This is obviously a technical fault. I think this is where we remember
one way
you
of
open
putting
the
it.
camera. You open the back of the camera in your excitement.
I slammed it shut, but obviously it was too late, and that.
Well, the great shame here is it was it was the Irish try, the first Irish try, and I remember thinking how lucky you were, you know, to have got a try in your first 10 minutes of sports photography. Now being waiting.
It wouldn't have been a bad picture, would it, if it hadn't been for the elbow and the fog?
Yeah, the elbow we could have got around. We could have cropped it out. That was not too much of a problem. But we got not enough on the negative. It's fogged here. Now this one is using the lens better. You're filling the frame. You've got a sharp picture. It's, you know, good background. It's not spoiling the thing. But obviously, what's happened is the ball's gone, and one of the crucial things is to actually have the ball in it.
Yes.
Now here we're getting an interesting picture here. This is very usable, and I've been very happy with this on the day. This is tight, good faces. It would have been a good personality picture because this guy did win the game. A new name. He'd not played for England before, and people would have been interested to see that, and that's so far your best sports picture from the day, I think, because of that. You've hit the news, you've got the news angle, and you've got a good piece of a good sports picture, which if you can get the two together, that's really what we're after every week.
And every day, I'm out working alongside Mirror staff photographers, learning how to photograph anything from politicians to pancake races. Today, the word's got round of a royal romance with someone called Sarah Ferguson.
Mike, can you go down to St George's Street? It seems that the rumours about Sarah Ferguson and Prince Andrew are getting stronger and stronger.
Mike Maloney is an old hand at waiting patiently to catch unguarded celebrities unawares. And he's going to introduce me to the art of doorstepping.
Certainly. Okay, we go. This particular situation, Sarah Ferguson, it won't be a she'll come out, smile and pose. It'll be, I think it might be a bit of a chase. What I suggest we take will be nothing too long, because you won't be able to hold it and hold it still and run with it, right?
That's a zoom. That'd be too big,
I think it probably will. I'm going to go for something like an 85mm, a wide angle, and I'm going to take one small flash gun with me.
Oh look, who's that with Mike Maloney?
The Fleet Street Rat Pack, to give it one of its politer names, is a cheerful, sociable group. They're all the best of chums until the time comes to take the picture. Then, elbows fly, and it's every man for himself.
If we're all filming each other, we're going to get stuck.
Here. No, we've sort of come to relieve you.
I'm going to go phone the office and find out what the hell I'm supposed to do. We've come to relieve you.
She could turn up at any moment. Office is here at number 11. She's on the 4th floor, right? You'll suddenly probably see us all make a dash for it down the street. We'll spot her. And that's not easy, because with this girl, with Sarah Ferguson, not many people really know what she looks like.
I was going to say, I don't know what she looks like.
Including the press.
Right.
So fortunately, I've seen her a couple of times, so I've got a good idea.
Now, she hasn't arrived for work yet. I suppose it's just possible that she's taken a day off work. She won't show up at all.
Very much so. You could spend 6 or 7 hours, depending on the story, outside of somebody important's house and get nothing. You could be there all day and not even take one frame.
Does that happen a lot?
Fortunately, not a lot, but it does happen.
What's the longest time you've ever been kept waiting?
7 days for Paul Getty. 2 weeks for Howard Hughes. I remember spending 3 days sat in a tree once to try and get Simon D, who was having instruction on driving a bus.
It has to be today's picture of Sarah Ferguson. Last week's won't do. After 4 hours, we still have to be ready to race into action and fight for the best shots. Arthur Edwards of The Sun has photographed Sarah Ferguson before.
She's not over the moon when she sees us, but she faces up to the fact that, you know, she's the girl in the limelight. She looks at the camera, she smiles, and she's really ace. I mean, compared to Princess Diana, when she was in the same situation, the moment she saw her, she put her head down, and so we used to call her shy die, but it wasn't that. She just couldn't cope with it. This girl copes with it brilliantly.
Nobody there?
Nobody there.
You're quite sure? I mean,
Yeah,
empty office?
I knocked on the door and it's an empty office, yeah.
Right. Okay.
There's nobody in there at all?
No. So the office is empty.
Right. Well,
Chances are she won't be coming back here then.
at least we know she's not going to come out, but that's another reason why she might not be coming to work anyway.
They've probably all gone to Cheltenham.
Maybe they're having a day at the races.
There she is!
I've never moved so fast in my life.
How many, Chris?
5 on there, and 7 on there.
I've got
well done.
20.
Well, out of that you should get
That was
something.
that was a chase.
Well done.
Yeah,
Okay.
were you happy with that?
Not really, no. It all happened much too quickly.
Happened
didn't
so
it?
quickly. I spotted just outside the snack bar.
The anxiety lasts all the way back to the office. Like all photographers, I've learnt to develop my own negatives, and it isn't until the film finally comes out of its fixing tank that you're sure you have any pictures at all. And it's only when the printers make a contact strip that you find out if there's anything worthy of publication.
You were totally in the wrong position. Do you remember when we spotted her outside the cafe and I said, there she is, and I ran like hell down the street and got in front of her? So thereby I've got 6 pictures immediately of her walking straight into camera.
Yes.
Now, when I noticed you in that terrible push and shove, you were the wrong side of the car. You shouldn't have been there. Although because of your height you can get the camera above, you still don't know what you're taking. You should have been the other side of the car, and you should have been there much quicker. Now here, with this one, see, if you just cut that photographer out like that, you've got a very good picture there with this wonderful expression of the man, as if to say,
never crossed my mind.
Who's that?
Yes.
And that makes it a very, very nice, tight, 4-column picture.
Right.
That's a very good picture as well. It's slightly out of focus, but you can't help these things in a push and shove situation.
Miles from Fleet Street, in the basement of Broadcasting House, there's a man who spent 40 years in newspapers. He was once the managing editor of the Daily Mirror. Now he's disc jockey Derek Jameson. I felt a bit sorry for Sarah Ferguson being chased by photographers. Is there room for such feelings?
I fear not. You can't really be soft-hearted about the job you're doing. You represent the public interest, you know. The millions out there want to see your picture. You want to succeed as a photographer. So, never mind you feel a bit sorry for her. We all want to see Sarah Ferguson. This is the great love of Prince Andrew. He's the most eligible bachelor in the world, brother of the future king. It's perfectly valid and proper and responsible for you to go mad to get a picture of her, the right picture. And what's more, better than the bloke next to you.
Just how far can you go to take a photograph?
Well, you always have to remember, it's you, the camera, the public, and the paper. Those are the 4 things you keep in mind. You have to be very, very singular about it. I remember years ago when I was a picture editor, I had a photographer, was at a soccer riot. And we were desperate for him to get back to the office. It was Spurs or Chelsea or somewhere. And he came in, where are the pictures? Where are the pictures? I haven't got any. What do you mean you haven't got any? You were there? He said, no, he said, there was a lad in front of me, blood coming down his skull. I had to put the camera down and go and help him. You put your camera down? I said, have you gone mad? You are there to observe the madness of this world, not participate in it. Never mind about putting the camera down. I'll never send you out again on a big story. Forget it. You know, and that's the way it has to be.
My collection needs a news picture. The chief photographer of the Daily Express is John Downing. His coverage of stories in places like Vietnam, Afghanistan and Nicaragua have won him the coveted British Press Photographer of the Year award 5 times.
Always carry a camera. This is your eyes. So everything operates on this.
You take that with you everywhere, do you?
Absolutely everywhere. If I go to a dance or a party, there's always a camera under my jacket. And a good example of how that paid off for me was the Brighton bomb, where I was in fact in the hotel at 10 to 3 in the morning, having a last nightcap, and I had my camera, and that's when the bomb went off. And I then started to evacuate people. Immediately that happened, and I'd asked if anyone was hurt. Nobody was. Then I started to take pictures, and this picture you see was in the hotel as they were getting up off the floor. I had to work very quickly because the dust swept straight into the room and we lost complete vision, and I did in fact only get 2 frames off inside because it just couldn't take any more. I then climbed out the front window, and that's where I got these other scenes of this young lady being helped along in a finery, and obviously quite badly hurt, and the strange irony of her carrying her these little dancing shoes. I thought it, in a way, added a feel to the picture, because minutes before everyone was happy. And then, as I took that shot, I just spotted Maggie's detective running around the corner. So I ran like hell after him and said, "Is she all right? Is she all right?" And he said, "Yes, I think so." But if he thought so, he means he didn't know so. So I stuck with him, and sure enough, they got her down the back stairs into a car, and they went down the road, like a bat out of hell. And that's when I shot this picture, and that was a very important picture that night, the only picture of them leaving. Of course, tied in with the only pictures inside the hotel, made a very strong sound.
John's assignment today is a demonstration outside Labour Party headquarters, where the executive, led by Neil Kinnock, is about to expel 10 members of Militant, including Derek Hatton. Militant supporters are out in force, and there could be ugly scenes when the party leaders arrive.
Kinnock's the important thing here is going to be arriving. He's going to kick these people out. They're going to tell them they're not going to be kicked out. So there's likely to be confrontation here. So you'll have a full run of him coming up. And if anyone throws eggs, punches, shouts, fist waving, you just keep the camera running. As soon as you see him starting in your eyesight, let it come. Now, look, just grab hold of that camera.
Which one?
That one. Pick it up dry. Right, now, look. What's going to happen in a crowd? You're going to start strangling yourself. Take that off. Right? Now, I always take a wrap round, because if it goes, you don't want to lose your camera, okay? Right. So take one wrap round, and then hold it, okay? Now, preset it at about 7 feet.
Yeah.
If suddenly people start shoving, and you can't see with your eye, then you can use your hand up like this, okay?
Oh, right.
But don't tilt it too much. It doesn't need much of a tilt.
Right.
So over the crowds.
Yeah.
Shouting doesn't photograph.
Right.
When the adrenaline's gone and the shouting's gone, you'll be disappointed that the drama isn't there anymore. So you've got to always be watching for the faces. And remember what I tell you? Keep calm.
Prepare to defeat the Tories in the election and bring to power a Labour government on a socialist programme.
Getting a knife in, are you? That's great. That's how the nod is. He's a South Wales Labour MP.
The members of the local authorities, a comrade from London,
Randolph,
a member of Newbury, a convener, Steve
I think I got Kinnock. I tell you what, another guy went in first and somebody shouted Kinnock. I thought that was him, so I wasted a few shots on him.
Doesn't matter how much you waste it. It's quite strong.
I think so. It's very powerful, yes. I mean, all the policemen coming in a cluster around there is tremendous. I think I got him. Did you get him?
Yes, I think I got him all right. It got very crowded with the police, you know. The crowd weren't as aggressive as I thought they would be, and the police are starting to cover him.
Have we got the story? Again, the anxious drive back to the darkroom to look at the results with Express picture editor John Mead.
The main event was Kinnock arriving, but we wanted to get an atmosphere, incidentals and so on, and that you've done, and I saw you working very well on. And you had one particular picture in your mind, and that was this chap here, who was really shouting at you in the banner. Now, I've got the two pictures here. Now, you can see the difference between the two. I was in an inferior position for it, so you were in the key position. The difference is, yours is out of focus and mine is sharp. Now, this is a simple problem that you've focused on the board and not the face. That's one very clear, so in future, always the face, and if you're in close on the face, the eye. Always focus on the eye. Now, this is excellent. You've caught the handshake here, and you've got good expression on the face, but unfortunately, because you've got the back of the head there, it's your position, you couldn't do anything about that. But what you should have done is just shout it out to them. Excuse me, can you just give us this way? They're there for publicity. They'd be very pleased to help you. Now we actually come to Kinnock arriving. Now, this was definitely your strongest print. Good crowd in the background. You can see some good shouting faces, a lot of good atmosphere, and again, just a little off focus. You're back focusing a little.
Now, on John's picture, and we are looking for the shape as well, a nice 5-column picture, right across page 7. John obviously wins it on the day. He's got all the atmosphere, the TV cameras, microphones, a good picture of Kinnock, the expression's right, the police around him, the placards, it's all there. And that would suit us ideally for a nice 5-column strip right across page 7.
The former editor of The Times and The Sunday Times, Harold Evans, is a recognised authority on ideas like the 5-column strip. He wrote in detail about the composition and layout of newspaper photographs in Pictures on a Page. What do I need to do to turn myself into a photographer fit for a national daily?
Well, you can do two things, you as a photographer. When you take your picture, you can think of framing it, you know, and in fact, as you go around, you should now be framing life all the time, thinking, well, there, you know. That's how you should be looking at the world. You should be looking at it like this. When you get your prints back, it's vital that you look very closely at what you've got, because you can transform a routine picture by the way you edit it or crop it. 3 pictures in 10 are better for fractional editing, for size and ridding it of clutter. 1 picture in 50 contains a detail which is very vivid, which, as I say, maybe even the photographer hasn't seen. When Heath and Powell were on the Conservative Party conference together, the whole frame did include in it this picture of Heath and Powell obviously opposed to each other, looking very glum, and the skill was to go right in and blow up that detail. And that's what a good picture editor will often do with better confidence than a photographer who's frightened of losing something that he took, you know.
It's possible that I'm going to be sent out on a full-blown professional assignment as a Fleet Street photographer. How is it going to feel when I do that for the first time?
Well, you're going to feel quite frightened. And I think you should be. In fact, you probably won't do good work unless you are. I think you should go out with 2 sources of fear. One is the fear of failing to represent the story or the images that you're out to take. And I think you should also be fearful of the sensitivities of the people whose lives you're subjecting to your intrusive lens. And those 2 fears, I think, will help you a great deal, provided you're not so jittery as to forget to do that.
In Patrick Litchfield's studio, I've set myself the task of getting a sexy photograph of a cool and sensible newsreader, Moira Stewart. Can I just suggest something? You were saying get in and show the model. Can I just take your place for a minute? Let me show you what I have in mind.
I think you should turn the other way, because this is your main light.
Ah, thank you.
And otherwise you're going to get not a very pretty light. Yes,
well, pardon my back, but I mean something... Is that very corny? But I mean...
Well, the hand is a bit corny, yes.
Is it? Well, what about a sexy one then?
Sexy?
Press it. No, I want a sexy... come here, look. Without laughing.
I was going to suggest you lose her back arm altogether.
Just drop it down.
Just drop to the back, the right. That's it. And get the shoulder back. Other one.
Oh.
Get it away. There you go. Now you're talking. Just going to do a quick roll myself. Is that all right? I think I'll just take it off the tripod.
Can I take that?
That's wonderful. And we'll just, thanks, that's lovely. Just straight into it. Lovely. Just keep still. See, what I'm managing to do is altering my height. Yeah. That's good. Lovely. Chin slight. Just turn your head. There you go. And a bit more. Going right over. That's good. That's marvellous. Even more of a smile. Come on.
Can you manage something like... What do you think? Again, is that corny?
Maybe the hand not up. Let's see when she gets there, I think.
Yeah. Try that anyway. Let's see. I mean, it's much nicer to look at you doing it than me. Again, more the surprise look. Without it. I know it's all very surprising. But
she's in agony, poor girl. Get on with it.
Oh, gosh, sorry.
That's it. Another one. You'll put her right back.
All right.
Oh, now take 2.
Have I ruined it?
Yes, you have.
What am I looking for? The sex appeal or the professional ability?
Well, let's just get a reaction to start with.
Well, they're nice portrait pictures. Is that what you intended to do?
No, it wasn't at all what I intended to do. What I really wanted was Moira Stewart to look sexy.
Well, she's got too many clothes on to be sexy, isn't it? But with all due respect to Moira, Chris, it's horses for courses. You have beautiful girls, glamour girls doing glamour work, and Moira reads the news rather well, doesn't she? OK, Dave, that's nice.
In between snapping royals, Kent Gavin helps feed page 3's appetite for crumpet, like the luscious Linda Lusardi. The mirror still hasn't quite gone topless.
Right, just drop the strap down, darling, off the shoulder. That's no girl. Now just push the boobs together and turn from the waist to the camera so we'll get nice cleavage. Righto, Chris. Would you like to have a go?
Where would you like me, Chris?
Now, she asked me that. She know the answer she'd get. But with you, you can do it.
I hate to appear bashful, but I really don't know what to say under these circumstances. I mean...
Don't be shy.
So I'm trying to copy Kent's style here. Let's see if I can do it. Just squeeze them together. Pull it down a little bit
Don't
more.
be shy.
Totally shy.
Don't be shy. That's it.
Well, you don't go up to women and say, pull your clothes off.
I do.
Oh, do you? I still don't know if I have enough good pictures in my portfolio to persuade the editor to send me out on a major job of my own. I've been a photographer for 6 weeks. Kent's been around a bit longer.
Yes, it's coming along, but it is lacking one main ingredient which press photographers, that is the best of them, have to do. And that is a picture which we call a feature shot. You could call it light entertainment, but you need this featured picture. You've got to show him that a little bit more thought goes into it than just straight-on news pictures.
What's needed is a picture which illustrates a current story, but not the straight-on view. The Queen is about to celebrate her 60th birthday. What might that mean to her? Holding the pensioner's bus pass, Queen lookalike Jeanette Charles. Jeanette, you're trying to give the impression that you do this sort of thing every day, and it's become a matter of routine for you. That's it. All right, Brian, looking at the card, slightly puzzled, and that's right. And so, as if, you know, you're holding up a rather nasty, smelly piece of fish and dropping it in the bin. Right, hold it there. My moment of truth. Will the editor like my work enough to trust me with my own assignment? It's not a foregone conclusion. The Mirror's editor is one of the old school. Richard Stott has a reputation for speaking his mind.
It's a good demo picture. The bottom one is better than the top. Fierce, hatred, everything one would expect from Militant, really. That's good. That's very good. It's got everything of a sports picture, that. Terrific. Aggression, movement, endeavour. Very good. Fergie.
That was the week before the announcement of her engagement.
That actually is a good magazine picture. It's not a newspaper picture. Lovely, him turning round, doing the double take, suddenly realising who it is. Very good. Ah, Linda Lusardi. Mind you, if you can't get her right, you might as well pack up and go home. And this is the Queen.
The Queen's 60th birthday, yes.
Jeanette Charles, with a bus pass. Clever idea. I could think of a few papers that would use it, but it's not my kind of thing. Well, that's quite impressive, I think. Quite impressive.
Does it impress you enough to give me a solo assignment?
Yes, I think it does. I think it does. And we've got a very big one coming up on Monday. Difficult to think of any larger. The Queen's 60th birthday. You'll be doing the photographs of the balcony scene, which will be probably the most historic to come out of the 60th birthday. It will require very fast reactions. It will require sharpness and about as big a photographic assignment as you could be given.
In the editorial office, I'm getting some advice from the Mirror's royal reporter, James Whittaker, and the photographer he'd normally have with him, Kent Gavin.
One thing you must remember at all times, and that is not to run out of film. And I can quote a classic example of that when Charles and Diana were on the balcony for their wedding, and many photographers were changing film when Diana gave Charles a peck on the cheek. And a lot of obscenities were uttered then because you can't ask them to do it again, it was missed.
And if I talk to you, Chris, which I will constantly, don't take your eye away from the camera and turn. There's no time for politeness on this, because we work as a team. I mean, it's not you working and me we're working together. And I promise you, if we miss it, I will be livid, and you will be very upset too. I mean, we've got to beat these other bastards. We are better than them, and we've got to do it.
Buckingham Palace, 21st of April, 9 a.m. The royal family won't appear on the balcony till 4, but to get the right position, I have to stake my claim early. I'm not the first to chain a tripod and ladder to the railings. Before long, this spot will be full of photographers. Meanwhile, at the editors' morning conference, Len Greener reveals his plan.
We've got 5 photographers at Windsor at the moment. The rain is causing havoc, unfortunately. The open carriage parade has now been put back into a closed carriage, so that is going to reduce it a bit. And then the big situation will be the balcony scenes at Buckingham Palace, which is about 4 o'clock our time.
11 o'clock. 5 hours to go.
You've got to be quicker, smarter, sharper, faster than all the people around you. And if you're very lucky, you'll have the right angle and the right light that will give you just that one frozen second that produces a marvellous picture that nobody else has got.
And be very careful, Chris, when you miss the top of the gate, because if they don't open the gate, you could have plenty of gold baubles in the front of your picture.
It's very tight. I mean, I can just get the edges of the 2 pillars on either side, and that's all.
Fine,
so
that's
if
terrific.
they spread out beyond that, it'll be separate.
Fine. We'll whistle her back into view, Fanny. And we've got to be particularly careful because the editor will watch every bit of this on television. So it's no good us saying, well, it didn't happen, because if he's watched it, he'll be actually seeing it there.
Well, we can't win.
And no, we can win.
I don't want to.
We're definitely going to.
If he says that, there's no answer.
Yeah.
The pressure in the cabin is reduced. Oxygen masks, like these, will appear from underneath the flaps above your heads. Pull the mask towards your face. Place it over your nose and mouth.
This procedure must get pretty boring for the staff. They've got to do it every flight. But they've got to remember that people must know the drill before the aircraft takes off.
Please make sure your seatbelts are fastened before we take off. Thank you and enjoy your flight.
Yes, I am. Is it
Yes,
this one here?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Once we're airborne, it's so relaxing and peaceful with somebody else in control. But the staff, they've got to keep going. Or people might be hungry. Oh, the coffee's up. There's food in the trolley, is there? Oh, good. Right. Sue. Now, Sue is Deputy Fleet Training Stewardess for British Midland Airways, and you've been putting our kids through their paces.
Certainly
How have they done?
They've done very well. They've been really enthusiastic all day.
What do you think they find is the hardest thing to grasp?
Probably putting a smile on their face all the time. You have to smile at the passengers.
You can't let it drop.
No.
A real stewardess, how long do they take to train?
Initially, it's a 3-week training period, and then we just keep an eye on them for the first few flights.
But that's when they pick up the experience, I suppose, when they're doing the
That's
job.
right. It's very hard to teach them in the classroom how to react, but once they're on the flights, they can get to grips with the job.
You're a professional. You've been doing it several years now. Like 5 years, isn't it?
5 years.
So what's the best aspect of the job from your point of view?
I think the variety of the job, and it's a nice job working with people. I enjoy it.
Working with people.
Yes.
I like that as well. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Sue. You've been a
Thank you.
great help. Thank you. Well, it's marvellous when you're flying, you know. Everybody's relaxed. They feel somebody else is in control, has taken responsibility.
You okay? Yeah, I'm fine. That's it.
Happy?
Yep, you got something there.
Well done. The lads smile at this stage. That'll be sick.
Well done, thank you, James.
No, terrific. Pleasure working with you. I think you've done that. I think you've cracked it. But the editor will decide.
Well,
It's now done.
An awful lot of possibilities.
You've got to move.
5 o'clock. The editor and his team are already well on with the layout of tomorrow's paper. I've no time to lose.
I don't go yet. The Fergie's mum down the bottom left-hand corner.
Yeah, all right. Okay, then you've got the kids there, so there's a lot of kids. That's a nice one, but that is optional, John, if you're in trouble.
How long should I leave that in there for? I know there's no limit, but what's the quickest thing? It's when the
Well, just give it
silver's
some
come up.
agitation.
What have you done with Sol then?
If it's milky,
Yeah. Is it still, is any of it milk?
stand them in there because some of them will have to.
Well, actually, we're running short of time. Is Ricky? I know Rick's off, isn't he?
Arnie.
Well, as long as it's now done.
Yeah, well, I'll get Arnie or David.
Is this the best roll?
I don't know.
Actually, when they sang Happy Birthday, she looked quite moved, you know.
So if we're doing the words of the children's song, so moved, Queen.
You can see it's just slightly off, you see. Slightly off.
Slightly off means slightly out of focus. Focusing is always a problem with very long lenses. We've got to try to find some which are razor
I
sharp.
think that's about 6 or 7 we've got now. It's not bad, it's almost there. Let's go and see what the governor says.
Okay, where's the rest of them? There's others of the Queen.
They're the only ones I've seen.
Will they choose one of my pictures or buy one in from an agency like the Press Association? All I can do is wait.
These wider shots actually are rather better than the close-up, although these are sharper on the PA. Our stuff is actually rather more atmospheric.
Stands so far apart. The front page carries Kent Gavin's memorable daffodil picture. And on page 3, they've printed my shot of the royal group.
You've got great expressions on all of them. This was the remember we waited and waited and waited till the song ended, and then that's when the reaction came, and you had plenty of film left to shoot on it. Yes, I think you've got it absolutely right. You made Sarah look good. No, I think you can be very proud of that one.
How you managed to get such good pictures in such a short space of time, I do not know. I do congratulate you on that, because you've only been doing it 20 minutes, really. Well, we've been doing it 20 years.
Do you think I've got a future in this game?
Well, there's a future there, Chris, that's for sure, but like myself, yourself, you're only as good as yesterday's picture, and that was yesterday's picture. What you have to do is go out and do that every day. And as you know, with the competition with all those photographers, it's quite something. But it's exciting, isn't it?
Can I have a job, please?
No. What am I supposed to say there?
That's an honest answer. Maybe come back in 5 years.
Yes, come back in 5 years, yes. But in the meantime, well done. Congratulations.
Oh, thanks, sir. That's great.
Get them in.
Okay.